And that's the reason why I want to believe in God. That's the reason I want to believe in God and believe that there is some power out there that's driving me. Something powerful.
You believe in God?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I can speak in terms of God or science and both. And I do believe in a God. I was raised Catholic, and I believe there is a God, but I just don't believe He's the God of all the people I know, all the hateful people, and how they use God to divide us and instill hate and violence. That ain't my God.
That's people.
That's what?
That's people.
That's people. But
Yeah.
still, why do people make their God so vengeful and violent? My God isn't that way.
Because they serve themselves.
Or whatever.
Their greed and lust. All about the flesh.
Right. So, yes, I believe in God, but I believe in what? I believe in a loving God.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Why would He create an entire universe and people it with people like us if He didn't love us? I mean, it's like me going out in my garden and planting bushes and trees, and making the grass grow and flowers. I wouldn't go out and do that if I didn't love all those things.
Yeah.
Mamba. I wouldn't, I'd come home and kick Mamba and kissing him. I love this dog.
Where's Bomba at? Let me look at him. If you're trying to join the live, normally I don't have a problem at all. I'm just doing something a little bit different. Plus, I think you're really cool and you look good on video there. You know who you are. Just try. Anyway, Mark here, man.
Hey.
He has a he was going on a rant. And I just wanted to get him because he said some good stuff.
I just went on a rant.
And he be saying some stuff that you need to really try to understand. Open up your mind a little bit, expand. So I just want to make sure I got him on live. He's also got a thick background, I shall say, and plays and stuff like that. Art of like Shakespeare. He can do some stuff. I got him on my TikTok. It's pretty cool. So I try to get him on here when I can. Mark, you want to tell him a little bit about yourself?
Hi.
If they ask questions, I'll let you know.
My name's Mark Irwin, and yeah, I worked over 30 years as a psych nurse in locked inpatient psychiatry. I have a good understanding of mental illness and schizophrenia. I am a trained Shakespearean actor, one of few in this country. I've been to the Bennett Theater Lab and studied the system that's Konstantin Stanislavski devised, considered the greatest actor who ever lived.
What's his name?
Konstantin Stanislavski.
All right.
A good Russian name. And, yeah, I love acting and theater. I love Shakespeare. Shakespeare wrote about the human condition. It's timeless. Today we deal with all the same issues that Shakespeare writes about in his plays. He put the words in the mouths of kings, and we still echo those words today.
Somebody asked, have you ever kissed a man?
You talking to me?
That's what somebody asked.
Have I ever kissed a man?
Yeah,
of course I've kissed a man. I've kissed a man as an actor, and a character in a play, and I've kissed a man in my bed.
I ain't tell it like it is. You tried to play. I love it. So what was the first? Do you remember the first bit of Shakespeare you heard as a youth, or how old were you? Do you remember? You started getting fascinated by stuff like that, maybe?
Well, growing up in Indianapolis, Indiana, I can't say that I was fascinated by Shakespeare. We didn't hear much about it, but in my senior year of high school, at the Catholic school I went to, one of our teachers was very progressive, and he took the whole English class to a film by Franco Zeffirelli of Romeo and Juliet. And it was the first time I actually heard or saw Shakespeare. And thanks to Zeffirelli, the production was amazing. And yes, I fell hard, just like my first opera. When I saw my first opera, I fell hard in love with the art of it, and I fell hard in love with Shakespeare when I first heard him on that screen in the movies. But you know, I've always loved words. I wrote poetry as a child, and I've always loved words and music and songs. I have a million songs in my head. I can do the whole Gershwin songbook. Not that anyone ever asked me to, or I ever get an opportunity to, except for when I'm doing my dishes. But yeah, I love to sing, and I love the words and the rhymes and the meaning and the messages. Words are very powerful.
Oh, that was going to be my question. Do you believe they're powerful? Yep.
Oh,
Is there power in the word?
Oh God, yes. If someone for the first time went to see a Shakespeare play and it was very well done, I'm sure they would leave somehow changed in their thinking about something. Because he always writes about the human condition and does it in such a way that we become introspective. We look at ourselves as human beings. We look at what makes us human. You know, we deal with issues like ambition and love and hate and just all of our emotions are wrapped up in the human condition. You know, survival. I think ambition is one of the ones I enjoy the most because Shakespeare often shows us what happens when we become too ambitious.
How's
The opposite of sloth. You know, the opposite of doing nothing. Being too ambitious. Macbeth kills king to become king. His ambition, fueled by mystical witches and prophecies, but still, nonetheless, his own ambition and his wife's ambition drive him on. And you know, I'm sure that we can all look at the world today, at certain politicians, religious leaders, Congress people, etc., who are way too ambitious. And they're fucking up the world. So Shakespeare tried to teach us and tried to show us these stories in the hope that we might learn and be better, evolve into a better human race. Unfortunately, Shakespeare is being lost today. Unfortunately, there's very few people who can bring it to the stage and make it accessible to a modern audience. And unfortunately, the stories are being lost and young people are forgetting who they are and how they became who they are. They don't know the stories anymore. They don't know the lore anymore of how we became who we are and the issues and problems we faced as a race, a human race over the millennia.
So do you think we're gonna go up or down? And as far as our if we evolve or decline as humans in our theologies and thoughts and beliefs and love? Maybe.
Oh dear. Well, because I feel there may be a young person in the audience, I'm going to monitor my response. Because no, I don't want to say we're going down because there's young people who have their lives ahead of them. And I don't want them to think that this old man feels that life is over and the world as we know it is going to end. No, I want to say, yeah, the glass is half full. The glass is half full. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of stuff that we can be thankful for. But I don't think we can just sit back the way we've done. I think that the human race is going to have to come together. We're going to have to find a way to end the divisiveness. We're going to have to stop listening to our leaders, both political and religious. We're going to have to level the playing field, and income equality is going to have to be addressed. And if not, we're going to have to take down corporate. And, you know, I'm not advocating violence here, but something's going to have to happen where the workers are going to have to rise up.
Like storming the Capitol?
No. Storming the Capitol was violent. It was unproductive.
It was also crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
What I mean,
Funny,
I don't
in a way.
mean to attack the Devon Tower and burn it to the ground or fly an airplane into it or whatever crazy shit that some terrorist might do. I don't mean terrorism. I don't mean out war with weapons. I mean that somehow we have to find a way to compete with corporate, battle corporate, and level the playing field, and stop being slaves to corporate. We are all slaves to corporate.
Heck yeah.
And if that means don't shop at Walmart, fuck it. Pay $2 more for that loaf of bread. Pay $2 more. Go poor. You're poor already. That's why you're shopping at Walmart in the first place. Walmart is corporate. It's corporate greed. It's evil. It's Satan in the world.
It's
corporate greed. Unless your medications are essential.
Mine are.
Well, mine are too. I can't stop taking my HIV meds. I can't. I'm a slave to that. I'm a slave to Big Farm. I can't have money in the bank because I get subsidies to pay for those fucking meds because they won't fucking cure HIV. They just want to treat it and make billions of dollars. Oh, well, the profits aren't that great from HIV meds. Oh, yeah, right.
Let's talk about HIV.
I'm just talking about HIV because of meds. I'm talking about bringing down corporate, which means we have to stop feeding corporate by consuming. Medications are essential. So no, I'm not advocating you stop essential medications. But if you can stop buying something that comes from Big Pharma, something, and substitute it with something more natural or something you can get locally.
Oh, I got a question for you.
Anyway, I'm railing against corporate. We need to get back to mom and pop businesses. Okay. We need to get back to individual little neighborhoods and tribes.
Can you tell me this? You seem like you have a belief in God, at least, you know?
I do.
Okay, so did God show you any good or do you any good in your whole HIV crisis? Did he bring any good about it? Did any good come of HIV? I know a lot of bad came.
Okay, well, that's a global, huge question. Did any good come out of HIV? Well,
for you.
Fuck yeah. Cancer research, the research on COVID, the fact that they could make a vaccine for COVID in a year, all of that is because of the research that was done on HIV. All of it. It's virus. It's a fucking virus. It ain't no devil. It's a virus. The more we learn about the virus and how to control it, the better. That's science. So yes, that was something good that came out of HIV. There's still a stigma about HIV. That's not good. People died. I lost an entire generation of gay men. I lost an entire, across the spectrum, from the most prestigious psychiatrists and doctors to the most confused and desperate psychiatric patients. They all died of HIV/AIDS. The virus didn't care if you had money or didn't have money or what color you were or anything. The virus just killed you then. You got it? It festered inside of you for God knows how long, and then it killed you, and that was the end of it. What good came out of that? Nothing for me. I lost everyone I knew and loved. And it's very hard on me today. It was kind of like going to war. and losing your best buddies on the field. Only we spilled our bloods in laboratories.
Did it help you live
Not
your
on-
life better?
not
Maybe
on
because
battlefields.
did it help you appreciate?
I sat at the bedside of hundreds of dying men, watching the Golden Girls holding their hands, wearing my finest shirts. I volunteered at the Kaiser AIDS unit in San Francisco for quite some time, for many months. And that's the way God worked through me, was to sit there and hold the hands of these young men who were dying and abandoned by their families, their friends, their lovers, society at large, and most of them thinking that their God had abandoned them as well. And that's how God worked through me, was that I sat at the bedside because I wanted to, and I wanted to be there with them and let them know that they were wonderful human beings, and I tried to be human with them. And so, how God worked in that whole epidemic and that crisis and those long, long years and years and years of loss and death and sadness, that's how God worked in me. And you know, it wasn't like I thought of it at the time. It wasn't that, you know, I'm volunteering here because God's working through me. No, I just did it. I just did it while I was watching my friends die.
I bet that was pretty rough when it first happened. A little scary, perhaps.
Oh my God, everyone was terrified. I can remember when Dianne Feinstein was elected mayor, I think. You know, she became mayor after Harvey Milk was assassinated in San Francisco. And
Why was he assassinated?
George
Something?
McGovern. Well,
I thought maybe
not
something to do
George
with.
McGovern, excuse me.
My bad.
Oh God, Milk and Moscone were. Moscone was mayor. Milk was a supervisor. He was the openly gay supervisor. Dan White was a policeman. He went in, shot them both, killed them both, assassinated them at City Hall. It was a nightmare. But anyway, I can't get into that right now.
Yeah, my
That's
bad.
a whole other.
Yeah, I
novel.
misunderstood. My bad.
But Dianne, I was at the Sausalito Inn. I worked all day at the psych unit at the VA, and we had admitted a young Marine, a 19-year-old Marine who was demented. It was as if he had advanced Alzheimer's, and he was 19. And he was in terrible physical condition, wasting away. When he joined the Marines, he was this, you know, big, muscular, stocky, tough guy. And now all of a sudden he's this cachectic, skinny, wasting, crazy, out of his mind, demented young man. Well, that was the first AIDS patient I ever had. That was at the VA in like 1979, before it hit the papers, before it hit the news. They started teaching us universal precautions. They started talking about a slow virus. Oh God, it was called GRID, it was called this, it was called that, gay pneumonia, gay cancer, gay this, gay that. Everybody thought it was gay, 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 but of course it wasn't. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent here, but yeah, my first experiences were fear, and my friends were afraid of me.
Oh yeah, imagine.
We did not get the accolades and praise that the recent frontline folks got during COVID. That was not there for us. People were terrified of us. We worked on AIDS units, or we worked with AIDS patients. Boy, that was scary. And the stigma, oh my God, the stigma was horrible. I mean, you know, at first everybody thought, oh, AIDS, oh, well, he's a queer or a IV drug user. Bam! You know, there's the stigma. And that brand never went away. People today still think that's the truth. Even after hundreds of women have died, straight people, you know, it's worldwide, it's a virus, but still people want to blame it on gay people and God's revenge or whatever. So unfortunately, God did not play a good role in that aspect of it as far as stigma goes, because a lot of people are using God to promote hate and violence against gay people and say AIDS is a plague from God. And that's ridiculous. Enough on that.
I think he uses all bad somehow in your life for some kind of good. Like, you know, if you fall, well, you learn. You know what I'm saying? Everything's learning or teaching or character is very important. I'm sure it's shaped you in ways